All right, so these past few days have been what I would argue to be some of the most interesting, but at the same time productive days that I've had in a long time. This goes back to, I would say, 3 or 4 days ago when I had what I would argue to be a either an epiphany or awakening or just like all of those things combined. It's very interesting what happens when you reach like a threshold of just mental noise, right? On this day, I was feeling very overwhelmed, and I just kind of remember like I was feeling it, and there was something that happened where like I realized that like I was like overstimulating myself in terms of just like mindlessly scrolling on like social media. You know, we have a tendency when we're used to chaos, right? We have a tendency to just continue to attract that, to go after that because it's familiar to us. So we want to kind of escape through, you know, means of that, like whatever's available, whether it's scrolling on social media, whether it's just involving ourselves in drama and gossip. And it's just so interesting what happened because I was so caught up in here, and then I just brought my energy and my awareness down into my body and into the present moment and stuff. And I remember that night I was very hungry, and the dinner that I ate, it wasn't even about what I ate. It was about my being present with it and everything, and just how that changed the dynamics of everything in the experience moving forward. Like I was so present with the food that I was eating. I was tasting it. I was feeling it in my mouth. I wasn't eating it and you know, mindlessly scrolling and everything and like doing this, that, and the other, and just having my energy, my awareness all scattered and everything. It was very focused in the present moment of what I was doing. And I can tell now that this is going to change a lot of things for me moving forward. This is what happened that day was very important for me to kind of um, consciously move forward, to integrate a very honest sense of presence in my life moving forward. Um, and not only that, but also like taking time to myself. One of the most important aspects of the healing process is, you know, allocating plenty of time to yourself. And when I say to yourself, I mean to yourself. I mean, you know, free of technology, free of anything that would distract you. If you're going to know yourself, you need to actually know yourself. And that entails really taking time to yourself, by yourself, with yourself, for yourself. You know, a lot of people, you know, say like, oh, I take time to myself, you know, all the time and everything. It's like, okay, well, what's your time to yourself look like? Oh, you know, I'm on my phone, you know, I watch Netflix, I watch my favorite show. That's not taking time to yourself. Taking time to yourself is, you know, and I did it this morning too. Taking time to yourself is actually sitting with and by yourself in your own space, right? And most people, or I would argue many people, I don't want to, you know, say most people, but many people, they look at that and they're like, oh no, I can't do that. It's too boring. Exactly. There's overstimulation, right? Um, People need to be stimulated. They need to be, um, I would argue, numbed. Right? A lot of people don't want to sit with themselves. They don't want to sit by themselves. They don't want to sit with um, all of the noise of the mind, and not just the mind, but the body. Right? When you're alone, when you're by yourself, you face yourself. You're sitting with yourself, and so that changes the dynamics of everything moving forward, literally everything. And one's own capacity to sit with the self and to actually know the self, it literally dictates the way that your life is going to unfold, right? You know, in the earlier part of my journey of seeing myself and understanding myself and actually like being with myself, I was very hard on myself. I was even telling myself, you know, there would be points where I'd just get like unbelievably angry with myself because I was looking for change, and instead of actually like acknowledging the inner child and being with the inner child and listening to the inner child and what the inner child wants, I was just getting angry with myself. I was getting frustrated with myself. This is what I believed. This is what I learned I needed to do. Um, but it's so interesting because all of that stuff goes back to things that I've experienced in my life and what was familiar to me, right? But all of that stuff makes the inner child run away. Um, I'm not sure if this is a conversation that society is ready to have, like collectively. Like I see bits and pieces of it here and there where people are talking about it, and that's fantastic. But you know, we really have to be kind with ourselves in order to really blossom and like evolve fully and wholesomely, and to see ourselves as complete. We really need to integrate things that we denied ourselves of because in order to gain validation and approval earlier on in our lives, we neglected part of ourselves. We sacrificed part of ourselves, right? And we really kind of just like put them away and was like, no, you are not welcome here. But that's only because a parent figure told us that that's the case. And now, this whole thing of the inner child process and integration and everything, it's all about welcoming that stuff. The things that you were shamed for, it's all about like, like opening that dark door again and being like, oh, hey, I remember you. Yeah, come on over here. Let's sit down and talk, right? Yeah, shame is so toxic, and it's not necessary. People are shamed for things that are just crazy. So it's really about just like sitting with that stuff, sitting with the energy, sitting with the understanding, the awareness, the intention. And that's what happens when you're alone, when you're by yourself, when there is no noise, because you're forced to, I mean, not forced to, but like you're welcomed. That's a great word to use. You're welcomed to listen to the energy of what's going on in your mind, the energy of what's going on in your body, all these different things. And to become familiar with that is key. And that can change the dynamics of everything in any person's life moving forward. That's how that works, and it's incredible. So, just to wrap up, these past few days that I've been really sitting with myself and introspecting and everything, I've gained invaluable insights that I didn't even see before. The amount of noise that is distracting us from our own lives. If we are just to sit with ourselves and actually listen, we would, in terms of productivity, in terms of personal productivity, we would learn so much more about ourselves. But so many of us are scared to sit with that, and that's problematic. You can watch Netflix, you can scroll on social media, allocate time to that and everything, but the most important thing, the first and foremost important relationship that you can have with anyone in life is yourself. And you need to visit that first. You need to pay yourself first, because that will be the leading foundation for everything else in your life.